Good morning, students.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning, Prachi. Up to last lecture, we have covered the Unit 1 related points that are having the applications of interference and diffraction. In detailed manner, we have seen interference and diffraction, and in the last lecture only we have started the polarization. So, who will tell what were the points related to polarization concept? What were the points that we have seen with respect to polarization in last lecture? Yes, Vishal Rajput.
Definition.
Sanika, I'll ask to Vishal. Okay, Vishal Rajput. Yes, Vishal, are you there? Okay, Vaishnav. Vaishnav Patange.
Yes, ma'am.
What were the points we have seen with respect to polarization? Okay, simply tell what is polarization. What is the meaning of the term polarization? Okay, Pavan Shahane, roll number 13. What is the polarization? Of course, we are talking about polarization of light. So, what is polarization of light? Yes, Pavan?
Yes, ma'am. Polarization.
Yes.
Polarization is when a light comes and passes through a medium. The means it is separated. The axis of the wave is separated.
Okay. Basically, polarization of light is nothing but the restriction of light wave in a single plane. Whatever light source which is emitting light in all direction, that propagation of light is restricted in a single plane. So that is the concept of polarization. Next to that, we have seen certain points. The first point with respect to polarization that we have seen in last lecture was the double refraction. So who will tell what is double refraction? Kedar has given one answer in the chat box. He is saying polarization property of certain electromagnetic radiation in which the direction and magnitude of vibrating electric field are related in a specified way. That is absolutely correct, Kedar. Good job. Okay. Next to polarization, we have seen the double refraction concept. So who will tell what is double refraction? Or it is termed as birefringence. So what
Ma'am,
happens?
Sangu.
Yes, Siddhi.
Double refraction is an optical property in which a single ray of unpolarized light enter in an isotropic medium in two rays.
Yes, that is correct. Whenever a polarized light interacts
And
with
in
any,
different directions.
yes, in an isotropic medium, it produces two refracted rays. Okay, one ray is known as ordinary ray, another one is known as extraordinary ray. Now, what happens with extraordinary and ordinary component? To understand that, we have seen the Nicol prism. So, what is Nicol prism? Pranali?
Yes, ma'am. Nicol prism is a device for producing and analyzing a plane polarized light.
Yes, basically Nicol prism is one kind of prism we can say, and it is also known as polarizer as well as analyzer. So what that Nicol prism does, it accepts the light and it reduces the various components of the light and allows only extraordinary component of that light wave to propagate further. Okay, so for that we have seen one diagram, and in last lecture I have asked you people to draw that diagram. Okay, so hopefully you people have done that thing. So you can see the construction of Nicol prism is nothing but a calcite crystal is taken, then that calcite crystal is cut along two parallel sides, and next to that they are polished. The diagonal portion is also cut along the diagonal axis, and then that diagonal part, whatever two parts are get formed after the cutting along the diagonal axis, that are cemented with the help of cementing material known as Canada balsam. Okay, so we have got one more answer from the Akib. He is saying Nicol prism mainly consisting of two pieces of optically clear calcite or Iceland spar cemented together with Canada balsam in the shape of prism. That is also correct definition of Nicol prism. Okay, so we have seen the double refraction. Yes, it is made up of calcite crystal. Pawan is saying that. So basically why calcite? Because calcite is nothing but the anisotropic material. So any of the material which is having anisotropic property can be selected for the construction of Nicol prism. But most probably calcite is the well-known material for that construction. Okay, now after understanding the Nicol prism and double refraction concept, now we have to see further details related to polarization. And with respect to any polarized light, to understand the property of that polarized light, we need to know its properties. Okay, so some of the properties we are going to talk about today. So this is the start. In start we have seen how the light source emits the various components of light in an unpolarized manner, and with the help of polarized filter we can get the polarized light. Okay, this definition we have seen. Polarization is defined in such a way that the phenomenon of restrictions of vibration of light waves in a particular plane perpendicular to the direction of propagation of wave motion. Okay, this is one experiment which gives you that whatever we are saying, light is having the wave nature. So basically with the help of polarization concept one can say that light waves are having transverse wave nature. Okay, so that particular property of the light waves is explained with the help of polarization of light. Okay, next to that we have seen the double refraction concept. Calcite crystal, whenever a light interacts with calcite crystal, of course plane polarized light, then it produces two components. Two refracted rays are getting generated over there, ordinary and extraordinary ray. Okay, these are the materials that we have seen which possesses the property of double refraction. Then this is the construction diagram of Nicol prism. Here it is written it can be used as a polarizer as well as analyzer. Polarizer means if unpolarized light comes in contact with Nicol prism, you will get the polarized light at the output. And why it is said as an analyzer? Because whatever analysis with respect to that polarized light is done, that can be possible with help of Nicol prism. So how to perform that analysis and what kind of analysis is done over here, that we are going to see in today's lecture. Okay, next to that one diagram you can see on the screen, and the term provided over here is the optical activity. So can you people give me the idea what is happening in this particular image? What you can see in the image? What is happening? Yes, anyone? See, right now as I'm sharing the screen, I can't see the chat box. So if you want to say something, unmute and give your answer. Don't put anything in the chat box. I can't see chat box right now. Yes.
Warm light is passing through polarizing filter and optically active analyzer.
Okay.
And it is yes, ma'am.
and which refers to the transfer of the finally the light of single wave.
Okay. What is the
Polarizing filter
major
only.
difference you can see when light passes through that optically active material? That is the optical activity we have to understand. Is there any difference when light passes through optically active material? See, okay, before you explain something, I'll explain what are the components provided here. Here you can see E is nothing but the unpolarized light. Its propagation is directed in various directions. Okay, so at point E you can see the unpolarized light. After that you can see a polarizing filter is there. So whatever unpolarized light is there, when that light passes through polarizing filter, as we know, there will be the polarization of light. Okay, and light will propagate in a single direction. So that is seen at this particular point. Next to that, this polarized light is now passed through some material, and that material is termed as optically active material. Okay, now what is optically active material and what are the substances or what are the materials that are known as optically active material, that we have to understand through this concept. But one particular change that I was expecting that you people will tell, whenever see here the light is propagating in a particular direction, that is the propagation is perpendicular to the axis of the propagation. Okay, whenever that light passes through such kind of substances, here you can see there is little bit bending in the light waves, or light waves are rotated with some angle, or you can say light waves are rotated by an angle theta whenever polarized light passes through optically active material. Then you can see analyzer is provided. Now as I said, Nicol prism can be used as a analyzer. So the materials like Nicol prism are kept over here to do the analysis. What kind of analysis is required? Now here what we are saying, after passing through this particular material, light is rotated with some angle. Okay, so what amount of angle is generated over there, that can be determined with the help of Nicol prism, or we can say that can be recognized with the help of analyzer. Okay, and whenever light will pass through that analyzer, again the same polarized light you will get at the output. Okay, so basically the optical activity is one phenomenon of polarizing light. Whenever polarized light passes through some substances, there will be change in its propagation, there will be change in in angle of propagation. That angle is known as angle of rotation, and the complete phenomenon is known as optical activity. The substances who are capable to rotate the plane of polarization, they are known as optically active substances. Okay, so here the definition of optical activity is provided. Before going towards definition, you people draw this particular diagram, and now whoever is asking some question, he may ask. Yes.
मैम वो खुद शेख ज्वाइन नहीं हो पा रहा है.
Yes, ma'am, Abhishek.
See, whenever I start presenting the screen, it is very difficult for people to join. So it is suggested that join on time. Okay, our lecture starts at 11 o'clock. So it is advised to join the lecture at that time only, so that there will not be any disturbance while conducting the lecture. I hope he had joined now. Yes, I can see Kuddus Sheikh. Okay. Okay. So, is there any doubt with respect to that figure? I'll give you 2 minutes.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So, draw this particular diagram and then let me see what you have drawn. Okay. Once you complete the drawing, just let me know that done. Unmute and say done, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, the length of the ray at the end after passing through analyzer gets reduced. So why this happens?
Whenever light propagates through optically active substance, actually it is not indicating the length, it is indicating the intensity. So whenever a polarized light or unpolarized light passes through polarizing filter, there will be little bit reduction in its intensity. Then whenever the polarized light passes through optically active substance, again there will be reduction in the intensity. Why this happens? Because whatever are the materials, like if we are talking about the polarizing filter, say nickel prism is one polarizer. So whenever unpolarized light passes through nickel prism, some of the component of that light are getting reduced in the nickel prism. Okay, like we have seen, the extraordinary ray component is propagated and ordinary ray component is reflected. So ultimately, whatever is the intensity at the input, that get reduced at the output. Okay, so same thing happens when light passes through another nickel prism. Okay, basically here as a polarizing filter or as a analyzer, nickel prisms are used, and whenever light passes through nickel prism, you will see there will be reduction in its intensity. Okay, because various components are minimized over there.
Okay, means basically energy loss is there
Yes,
to the material.
and basically that is the critical thing. You people are having the practical on polarization. If up to that time, if you are visiting institute in a person, then of course when you perform the practical in actual, you will see whatever is the light intensity, and after passing through all these portions, whatever intensity you will get, that there will be a huge difference. And that's why to perform this practical requires the skill to observe that less intense light. Okay, so it is a critical experiment to perform. Yes, is there any other question? If not, draw the diagram. Once you complete the drawing, just let me know.
Done, ma'am.
Okay, good. So I'll move towards the definition of the phenomenon optical activity. Optical activity is the ability of some substance to rotate the plane of polarization of light beam which is passing through it. Okay, like in previous case what we have seen here, this particular block is optically active substance. So whenever light passes through such kind of substance, there will be change in its propagation. Okay, or substance rotate the plane of polarization of that light beam, and that complete phenomena is known as optical activity. And the substances who are having such kind of ability, they are known as optically active substances. Okay, so basically you can say a quartz crystal, or you can say a sugar crystal or sugar solution. Of course, optically active substance, they may be a solid substances, or there are some liquids who shows the optical activity. So in case of solutions, we can say sugar solution. Sugar, that we know very well, we use sugar in our day-to-day life. So if you prepare the solution of that sugar, then that shows the optical activity. Okay. And if we talk about the solid materials, then quartz is one material which shows the optical activity. So like this, various materials having this particular property or showing that particular phenomenon are known as optically active substances. Now with respect to optical activity, there are two chances. Okay, as we have seen, what is optical activity? There will be change in its angle of propagation, or that angle propagation is changed with some angle. So in which direction that change can be observed, that is explained in this particular slide. Either there will be a clockwise rotation of that plane polarized light, or there will be anti-clockwise rotation of the plane polarized light. Okay, so if the clockwise rotation is seen, then that particular substances are known as dextro-rotatory substances, and if anti-clockwise or left hand side rotation is seen over there, then that is known as levorotatory action, or substances are known as levorotatory substances. Okay, so basically dextro-rotatory means rotation is happening in the clockwise direction or in the right hand side direction. So that is denoted with the help of letter D dash. Okay, or a positive dash is the symbol used for the dextro rotation, and for the levo rotation the symbol is L dash, or you can say a minus sign, because it is on the left hand side. So whatever is the change, either there will be a dextro rotation or that will be a levo rotation. Now that depends upon which kind of material you are using in the experiment. Okay, so that is material dependent property. Various kinds of material will show either dextro rotation or levo rotation. Now basically, as I have shown you in the diagram, there is particular term known as theta. Okay, that theta is nothing but the angle of rotation, and that with the help of analyzer you can measure what amount of change in the angle is happened over there. Okay, so basically whatever is the angle change, whatever is the rotation is caused when light passes through optically active substance, that is determined with the help of analyzer, and basically that theta is dependent upon the properties of the optically active substance. So if we are talking about the solid materials, then that angle of rotation theta is depend upon the thickness of the material. Okay, and you can see on the screen the relation provided is theta is directly proportional to T. Okay, I'll suggest write down this particular thing. Okay, so the amount of rotation theta produced by optically active substance is directly proportional to thickness of the optically active material. Okay, so if high amount of thickness is there, you will get high amount of change in the angle. If less amount of thickness or less thick material is used in the path of light, the theta will be less in that particular case. Now if we talk about the liquid material, as I said, sugar solution is also optically active material. Just a second, I think. Yes.
Ma'am, Abhishek to join now.
Yes, ma'am.
I can't hear whatever you have said.
Ma'am, please join Abhishek.
Yeah, two students had joined now, I think. Don't do this because it is disturbing the lecture. So whatever is the time duration, whatever is the time of start of the lecture, join the meeting at that time only. Even though I am using the auto admitting process, but whenever I share the screen, auto admission doesn't get work. Okay, so try to join lecture on time. Okay, so this we have seen. If we are talking about the solid optically active substance, then angle of rotation at that place will be directly proportional to T, thickness of the substance. Okay, the same will be there for the liquid materials. If you are using any liquid as the optically active material, then the concentration of that material, concentration of that solution will be directly proportional to the theta. So whatever is the theta change, that will be dependent upon the concentration of that material in the solution. Like suppose if you are making a sugar solution, so what will be the solvent and what will be the solute?
Water will be the solvent and sugar will be the solute.
Yes. So you have to add sugar in the water. Okay, so how much concentration of that sugar you are adding to the water, that causing the impact on the theta produced over there. Okay, so if you change the concentration of the sugar solution, of course there will be change in the theta. And same thing we are going to see when we will see the Lorentz half-shade polarimeter. Basically Lorentz half-shade polarimeter works on this principle only. Okay, so theta will be directly proportional to C if we talk about the liquid medium. Now here you can see another formula, theta is equal to SCl. So basically when we talk about the liquid medium or liquid optically active substances, along with concentration, one important parameter comes over there, that is nothing but the length of solution containing tube. Okay, of course if you are taking some solution, you need to have some kind of container for that. Okay, with respect to solid material, you can put solid material directly in the path of light. But if you are talking about the liquid medium or liquid optically active substance, then of course there should be some container in which that liquid will be placed. You can't put liquid in the open air. Okay, so for that, when we will talk about the liquid optically active material, then you have to see what is the concentration of that solution. Along with that, you have to see what is the length of tube or container in which you have kept that solution. So basically the application of all that things we are going to see in case of polarimeter. So in polarimeter, whenever the experiment with some solutions is going on, then a tube, the tube which is having particular dimension is selected for that. Okay, so we need to see what is the length of that solution and we need to see what is the concentration of that solution. So here basically the formula, as you can see, the formula for solid materials, which says theta is directly proportional to T. The next formula will be for the liquid medium. Note down this particular thing. Theta will be directly proportional to this C, concentration of the solution, and L, length of the solution containing tube. Okay, so theta will be directly proportional to CL. Now in order to remove proportionality sign, here S is taken. Okay, generally to remove the proportionality sign, we consider any constant. So here to remove the proportionality sign, a constant is taken, and that constant is nothing but the capital S, which is known as specific rotation. Now what is specific rotation, that we are going to see on the next slide. But before that, just note down, theta is directly proportional to T when optically active material is the solid one, and it will be theta directly proportional to Cl for liquid medium. Okay, or if you are having any doubt up to this, you may ask. Next to that, we are going to see about the specific rotation. Yes, is there any doubt? Optical activity, whenever a light passes through some kind of material, there will be change in its rotation. So that change in rotation, complete process is known as optical activity. That kind of materials who possesses the property to change the plane of propagation of light, they are known as optically active substances. Whatever is the angle change, that can be determined with the help of formula, either theta directly proportional to t or theta directly proportional to Cn. Okay, so these are the points that we have seen up to this time. If you are having any doubt, you may ask. Otherwise, I will go to the next slide. Is there any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Good. Now we have to see. We have seen the optical rotation. Okay. Now we are going to talk about the specific rotation. Here, to remove the proportionality sign, we have taken the constant which is provided with the capital letter S. Now we have to see what is this specific rotation. What is the meaning of the term specific? Basically, specific is one word.
Particular, ma'am.
Particular. Okay, so basically, to see the definition of specific rotation, you have to keep in mind what is the meaning of the term specific. As you have said, specific means particular. So here we have to put the particular parameters for the measurement of specific rotation. Okay. So the intensity of optically active material is expressed in terms of specific rotation, and to define the specific rotation we have to take particular parameters. Now how are the particular parameters that we are going to see now? Okay. Basically, that specific rotation is dependent upon the angle through which the plane is rotated, then length of the light path through the sample, and the density of the material through which light is passing. Okay. So to measure the specific rotation, basically formula is taken as S is equal to tan theta divided by CL. There is no any new concept provided over here. If you see the previous slide, then only you will get the formula for specific rotation. Okay. In the second equation, if you rearrange the terms, then you can see S is equal to theta divided by CL. Okay. So same formula we have to take for the measurement of specific rotation. Okay. S is equal to theta divided by CL. Now with this you can see only one change. Here the factor 10 is provided. Okay. This is the only thing new in this particular formula. Now why this 10 is provided, that you will get to know if you will read this particular statement. Statement says specific rotation is defined as you people have mentioned, specific means particular. So here we have to say what is the particular amount of theta, or for particular amount of theta, for particular amount of concentration, for particular amount of length containing that solution, whatever angle change will occur, that is nothing but the specific rotation. Okay. So here in the statement what is written, first I'll read the statement as it is and then we will understand the meaning of each concept. Okay. So specific rotation is defined as rotation produced by 1 decimeter length of the tube containing solution of 1 gram of the optically active substance per cc of the solution. Okay. Basically here the particular values for this theta, C and L are provided. Okay. So what is theta? Theta will be the angle change for the tube which is having length as 1 decimeter. Now you people know the meter scale and meter system. So what is the amount of decimeter, that you know in a very good manner. Okay. So for a tube which is having length say 1 decimeter for that tube, and in that tube basically 1 gram per cc of the concentration of that optically active substance is placed. So for these particular values, whatever is the rotation, whatever is the angle, that angle is nothing but the specific rotation, or that angle of rotation we can term as a specific rotation. Okay, here as we are saying 1 decimeter length tube is selected over here. So conversion of decimeter into centimeter, so to have that conversion we have to take 10 as a constant factor over there. Okay, so basically 10 is taken to have the conversion from decimeter to meter scale. Decimeter is nothing, 1 meter is equal to 10 decimeter. So basically that is selected over here, and theta is the angle of rotation that we know. C is nothing but the concentration which is mentioned, 1 gram per cc is required over here, and length is 1 decimeter. Okay, so basically the formula for specific rotation is tan theta divided by CL, and with respect to any of the material, basically with the help of instruments known as polarimeter, this specific rotation is determined. Okay, so this is the concept. Basically here the particular values of that L and C are provided, and due to that particular values of L and C, whatever is the angle of rotation change over there, that is termed as specific rotation. Okay, so that is the concept of specific rotation. If you are having any doubt, you may ask, otherwise write down whatever is provided on the screen. If you are having any doubt, you may ask. Now one question will be like this: why to study all that things? So the answer you will see on the next slide. We have seen up to this time, we have seen the double refraction, Nicol prism, then optical activity, specific rotation. So all that things are going to be used in the instrument known as polarimeter, and that is the last part of this particular chapter, or last part of the polarization section. Okay, so the Lorentz half-shade polarimeter. Polarimeters are nothing but the instruments which are used to calculate the angle of rotation. In the previous concept we have seen, whenever light passes through optically active substances, there will be change in its angle, or there will be rotation in its propagation. So in rotation, whatever is the change in the angle, that can be determined with the help of polarimeter. Okay, so here the construction diagram of polarimeter is provided by taking optically active, liquid optically active substance. Okay, basically Lorentz is the scientist name. He has designed and developed this particular instrument. That's why Lorentz term you can see on the title. Next to that there is another term, half shade. So to perform this particular experiment, to understand this particular experiment, one component is taken as half shade. Okay, so what is that half shaded material or particular component, that we have to understand, but before that draw this particular diagram. I'll give you 2 minutes for the drawing, and then I'll stop presenting my screen to see what you have drawn. Here some points are mentioned like S, L, P, H, T, A, C, E. What are that points that we are going to talk about once you complete the drawing? Hope you people have drawn the diagram. Now I'll stop presenting the screen so that I could see what you have drawn. Is the drawing completed by you people?
No, ma'am.
No. Means I have to share the screen again.
Yes.
Once you complete, just let me know. Done? Done or not?
Done, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Done.
Okay, so first share your screen so that I can see what you have drawn, and then I'll give you the meaning of that terms. Yes, good. Sanika had shown the image. Okay. Okay, Sanika, good. What about others? Okay, it's showing something. Okay, good. Good. Yes, Runali has also shared the screen. Good, Runali. Pawan is also sharing the screen. Okay. What about others? Yes, Akib is also showing the screen. Okay, good. Okay, Sayyid is also showing it. Good. Okay, Siddhi has also shown. Good. Okay, what about others? Sakshi has shown. Good, Sakshi. Yes, Akib, seen. Good. This is my observation that whenever I ask to share something from your side, only some of the students do that job. Whenever I have given the assignment, yes, Prachi, I have seen. Good, Prachi. Good. Whatever assignments I have given up to this time, certain times I have shared some videos and asked you people to see and comment in the comment section. So only I think 6 to 7 students are there who are doing that homework very religiously, and I don't know what is the problem with others. Like one student has mentioned his problems, Yash has confirmed that what problem he is having, but I don't know what is the problem with others. See, I don't know name of all the students, or I can't recall the names of all students, but of course by the time, as the time passes, of course I'll get to know all the names, or I'll recite all the names. But in lecture, if I ask something to particular students, like I know the Prachi or Sanika or Pranali or Siddhi, because they are highly responsive students, even Akib or Runali. So these are the highly responsive students. So I can learn their name very easily. But what about others? So try to be responsive in the class, because this is creating high impact in your study. As we are in offline mode, I can't see you, you can't see me. In that, whatever your responses are there, that are very valuable. Okay, Abhishek is showing the screen. Good, Abhishek. So try to be responsive, responsive in the class. Okay. So good, you people have drawn the diagram. Now the symbols that are mentioned over there, we have to see what is the meaning of that all terms, and what is done with the help of this Lorentz half-shade polarimeter. So first, after this diagram, write this particular word or capital S, that is nothing but the source of light, and which will emit the unpolarized light in all direction. Okay, so write down S stands for source of light. Next to that, you can see the word is provided is capital L. So L is nothing but the lens. You can see lens is kept in front of the source of light. So S stands for source of light, L stands for lens. Then here you can see the P is written. So with this diagram, can anybody tell what will be the P?
Maybe person.
It will be, I can't hear you.
Polarized light or person?
Basically it is a polarizer. Okay, as you can see here, the ordinary ray component is reflected. You can see a diagonal axis. Then when light passes through this, we can see the plane polarized light one can achieve. So basically this P stands for polarizer, and here as a polarizer Nicol prism is selected. Okay, so basically this structure that you can see over here is nothing but the Nicol prism, and the name provided to this particular thing is polarizer. So P stands for polarizer. Okay, next to that, here you can see a vertical strip, and that vertical strip is denoted with the letter H. H stands for half shaded plate. Okay, H stands for half shaded plate. Now what is half shaded plate? Basically it is nothing but a glass plate. On that glass plate, half portion is covered with some material known as silver, and half portion will kept as it is. Okay, so half portion there will be a glass, half portion there will be a coating material, that may be a silver material. Okay, so half portion of that strip is covered with silver, half is glass as it is, and basically this half shaded plate is used as a reference point in Lorentz half shade polarimeter. That's why in the title itself you can see Lorentz, who has used a half shaded plate in the polarimeter. So the instrument is known as Lorentz half shade polarimeter. So H stands for half shaded plate. Okay, write down half shaded plate. Next to that you can see T is provided. T is nothing but the tube containing solution. Okay, so whatever optically active solution is there, so that is kept in a particular tube. So T stands for tube. Okay, tube containing optically active solution. Next to that T you can see A over here. So who will tell what that A stands for? What it will be? A. By seeing this particular diagram, what you can say? Analyzer, of course. A stands for analyzer, and again you can see here the Nicol prism is used. Okay, so basically in the Lorentz half shade polarimeter, two Nicol prisms are used, one as a polarizer, another as a analyzer. So that Nicol prism as an analyzer is kept after the tube containing solution. Next to that, here you can see C is written over here. That C stands for circular scale. Okay, so write down C is nothing but the circular scale. C, circular scale. Next to that, E is provided, that is E stands for telescope. As we have already used the word or letter T for tube, so here the telescope is mentioned with the letter E. So in front of E you have to write telescope. E stands for telescope. Okay, so this is the construction diagram of the polarimeter. We are having 10 minutes, of course we can discuss this portion. Okay, so basically what to do with the polarimeter and what happens in the polarimeter, that we have to see now. Basically what we can say, polarimeter is the application of polarization of light. Okay, so polarization of light concept is used in the polarimeter. What are the polarimeters? Polarimeters are the instruments which are used to detect angle of rotation caused when light passes through optically active solution. Okay, as you people have seen in the diagram, here at front there is a source of light. Of course that source will emit unpolarized light in all directions. Okay, so after this S, source of light, a lens is kept in order to have parallel beam of light rays. Okay, so with the help of L you can change the direction of light rays. Whatever light rays are falling upon that lens, they will have the parallel propagation, and all that light waves are moved towards the polarizer, which is nothing but one Nicol prism. So as we have seen, in case of Nicol prism, if light falls upon the Nicol prism, its ordinary ray component is reflected back and only extraordinary ray component is moved forward. Okay, so that is done with the help of polarizer. Like this, unpolarized light is converted into polarized light with the help of Nicol prism. So that is done over here. Next to that, if you see at this particular point, if you see after the Nicol prism, what you will get, actually you will get the polarized light. Now that polarized light is passed through half shaded plate. Okay, that light is fall upon half shaded plate. As I have mentioned, half shaded plate is nothing but a plate having half portion covered with silver material. Okay, so what happens with that half shaded plate, that we have to see, but before that I'll explain the meaning of each and every component provided here. Okay, so whatever is the polarized light, that is fall upon half shaded plate. Next, that light passes through optically active solution. Whenever that polarized light passes through optically active solution, of course there will be certain amount of change in its angle of rotation. That angle of rotation change one can determine with the help of analyzer. With the help of analyzer you can do that analysis, what kind of change has happened over there, and the particular amount or particular value of that angle can be seen on the circular scale. Okay, so with the help of circular scale you can measure what amount of change in the angle is happened over there. Next to that, telescope is provided to see the incoming light. Okay, so whatever is the light propagation, that you are going to observe with the help of telescope. Now to perform this particular experiment, basically two steps are there. That two steps are like this. Basically the same instrument, we have to have the measurement for two different cases. If we are talking about, say, sugar solution as the optically active solution. Okay, I have prepared a sugar solution. I have taken some amount of concentration in the water medium, and the solution is prepared, and that solution I am going to use to work with polarimeter. Okay, while having the working I am going to use sugar solution. Okay, as you people have mentioned, while preparing the sugar solution I need to use a solvent. Okay, so basically that solvent will be the water, or you can use any of the solvent material over there. So whatever is the solvent, that will also have some affinity in this particular process. So to minimize the, just a second, to minimize the impact of that solvent, basically first readings are taken for the water medium. Okay, so in the optically active solution containing tube, you have to use same tube with water medium at first, and you have to see what amount of angle is there. Next you are going to replace that water containing tube by sugar solution, and you are going to see what amount of angle is generated over there. Okay, so as I said, two steps are there. First you need to measure the angle with respect to water, then you are going to measure the angle with respect to sugar solution. By the difference of that two angle values, you will get angle of rotation with respect to sugar solution. Okay, now how to measure the angle? Last week you people have performed the experiment with respect to Newton's ring experiment. Okay, so whatever is done in case of Newton's ring experiment, same procedure is followed over there. You have to see what is the mean scale reading, you have to see what is the vernier scale reading, and then you have to calculate the total reading. Okay, now to measure that readings, at what point you are going to take the readings, for that you have to take the reference of half shaded plate. Okay, so basically before you start the experiment, you have to focus this telescope on the half shaded plate. Okay, as we are saying, light falls upon half shaded plate. Of course, through telescope what you will see? You will see the half shaded plate, of which one portion is covered with silver material, one portion is the glass, and you people know through glass light can easily transmit. Okay, and through the half portion which is covered with silver material, of course light will not get passed through that particular portion. So here what you will get? You will get the half shaded portion and half through which light can be seen. Okay, so you have to focus the telescope on that particular view. Okay, so view will be like this. There will be half dark portion, half bright portion. Next to that you have to move the analyzer. When you will see the instrument in actual, you will see with respect to analyzer a knob is provided. With the help of that knob you can move the analyzer. So by moving the analyzer you have to create the view in which there will be a complete light intensity over the entire portion. Okay, so that can be achieved. So for that particular instance you have to see what is the angle of rotation over there, what is the angle that can be seen for that particular scene. Okay, so this is done with respect to water at first, and the same procedure is followed with respect to sugar solution. By taking difference of that two angle values you will get theta. Now basically this is done in order to measure the concentration of the solution. Basically these polarimeters, they are having the applications in various sugar industries, where one need to see what is the concentration of, or what is the concentration of sugar getting generated over there, how much amount of sweetness is there in that sugar related material. So to understand that kind of applications, basically polarimeters are used. Okay, simple is the procedure. Of course it will be very confusing for you right now, but whenever you will work on this particular instrument, whenever you will perform the experiment on this, the procedure will become easy to you. Okay, of course, we are having one video of this that I'll share by tomorrow, so you will get to know how this Lorentz half-shade polarimeter works in actual. Is there any doubt up to this?
No, ma'am.
Okay, in next lecture, of course, we will talk about this in a little bit manner. Whatever you have understood or whatever you have not, that we will see at first, and then we will go towards the next point. Okay, good. So if you are having no doubt, then thank you. You may leave the meeting. And related to attendance, of course, just a second, I'll take the attendance. Just a second.